Let's go.
Ladies and gents, episode 21, and we are in the year 2021. I'm not even going to criticize how stereotypical that is as a comment. We are back today, and we're going to be discussing goals for 2021. A little recap on 2020, because I feel like me and Miles just had a little chat before we started recording and being like, I do not want to be any more negative on 2020 than I actually need to be, because realistically you can always find the positives for as hard as you want to try. So I think that's going to be an important factor of today's, and just figure out where me and Miles are both at to attack this year. And Miles is already starting the year really well with that mug.
I am inevitable.
I was waiting for the comment. So yeah, I feel like if we take a quick recap back over 2020 first and then go into the next year, is probably the best approach.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
So obviously, I'm not even going to say the word. We just know everyone's been stuck at home. But for me, it's the year I actually finally qualified as a PT. Thanks as well to Miles for helping me qualify, as he was my dog's body on a.
Wow. Dummy that you kept putting me through. What did you put me? You put me through that kind of bike
Oh
stuff.
yeah, but the video. I'm gonna have to see if I can get some video clips and just attach them to the YouTube version, and it's just Miles doing sprints on a bike.
There's literally, it's me. Like, I think you had a little conversation with me beforehand. I think you were like, "Are you all right with the pace and stuff?" I might fine. And the next thing you know, just my face just turns pink. I'm just like breathing. But I thought to myself, like, right, I am supposed to be this kind of athlete. I know what I'm doing. I cannot be seen to be unfit, but yet I was absolutely struggling when you ruined me that day. I think you frankly
Well,
put me everything under the sun.
yeah, to be fair, that was like obviously for anyone that's done a qualification online, they obviously want to try and cover as much as they can through a video. And like I literally did a full body workout with Miles, mobility, cardio work, different styles of training, all within this video, and we got it done on like a Sunday morning, and it was
And I was hungover.
horrific. Let's just say, yeah, it's a good thing I drove. But yeah, within this year, I've managed to qualify. Obviously, not got the amount of experience that I wanted to gain within the year, but I think being at home a lot more, it's allowed me to do more research on like the issues that clients will face, and allows me to actually just be more comfortable and confident as a coach. Because I think even when you qualify, you'll probably back me up on this, that you still don't really know what you're doing because you don't have a perfect client every single time.
Yeah,
And doing
I think, yeah, you'd be very naive to think you've got the qualification and that you've done. I think I look very back at the time when I first started personal training, and I was like, yeah, I'm completely a different coach to when I was 2 odd years ago and stuff like that. Um, Obviously, I did have the pandemic when I obviously started and stuff like that. I was probably started out in probably one of the most normal times you probably could have. But yeah, I think anyone who's, I don't even think just for PT, and I think anyone who started a business in this year and stuff like that managed to keep it going deserves a little round of applause and stuff like that. Because, yes, we'll give you a round of applause, Mike. Well done. Well done.
well, no, to everyone, to anyone watching.
To anyone. But yeah, it's definitely this year and stuff like that for self-employed people who have definitely just started and stuff like that. It's been a hard way of getting themselves started into it. But saying that, Mike, obviously you were very much brought into PT in learning of the ways of like it was done before this pandemic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel like now, with obviously the experience that you've learned and stuff like that? How do you think this will help you going forward within your PT? And
It's funny because obviously a lot of what you learn is you don't just do it in a day. Like you can't lose all the weight in a day. You can't do everything else in a day. And the setups and however 2020 has thrown stuff at us, we've had to be adaptable. I mean, you can admit this as well. Like you've gone from being in a fully set up gym, like everything ready to go. You walk in, you do your session, you leave, to then making sure you can either do online sessions, but then you've got to figure out what equipment a client's got, if any, and like just get really creative so it's not boring, and then just jump between, oh, is the weather okay outside to do an outside session? It's apart from Miles having his gazebo blown away.
Made that gazebo, rest in peace. Oh, that was an eventful day. Yeah, I, I think anyone who did outdoor sessions and stuff like that can appreciate it in a way. It's now brought a different standard to training and stuff like that. I feel very much within this year and stuff like that. The clients that I've got, that I'm very closer to them because of it. Because I feel like you had to become more personal in the job and stuff like that. You obviously now, because they're doing stuff like FaceTimes and stuff like that, you're seeing them in their home environment. You're seeing their houses, you're seeing their pets, you're seeing their family members that you've probably never met before. And you get a lot more kind of a personal all with it and stuff like that. So I think, if anything, 2020 has definitely gave a lot of personal trainers probably an added benefit to their coaching and stuff like that.
Let's put the personal back in personal trainers.
Pretty much, that kind of sense, yeah.
I just, for as much as I'll vibe on it and everything else, I was like, 2020 was just an horrific year. Just, I think, even for now, like, it's just no clarification on what's going on. Like, we didn't know if we were coming or going. Like, we had dates and then they get changed again or something like that, and then the facilities are open and closed, and then clients are dropping off because of obviously their environments and even being able to make money themselves, having a strong enough mentality. Like, it's really freaking tough for people.
Yeah, I think it's not anything. I think, well, again, I think with this year, or should I say last year, it's not gave anything new. It's personal training. It is sometimes unexpected. Sometimes you do have drop off. Sometimes you do have periods where you do really well and stuff like that. And we all live in a world anyway where not a lot of things are certain. A lot of things we cannot really control in that sense. It's been brought to the extreme, and because something that's very like global has pretty much hit us, and like I said, there's uncertainties that 1 minute we're told this, and then 1 minute we're told that. When you're constantly in that state of uncertainty and stuff like that, and you can't find any consistency in what you do, we're very much going against one of our human needs, and that causes a lot of people a lot of issues and stuff like that. But and I'm saying this to a client and stuff like that about his child, and the fact that it has gave us a lot of opportunities that we may have not have got before in the past. So this kid that I used to train was like, he's 12 years old. Obviously, he's doing homeschooling and stuff like that, and his school are doing currently a 2-week transitional phase. Technically means the kids are given 2 weeks of self-learning until the schools actually know what they're doing, because obviously they've got short notice and stuff like that. But this kid, 12 years old, easily could just go on his PlayStation, like many kids would do and stuff like that. But he's up early morning, he's dressed, he's ready to learn and stuff like that. He's got his timetable sorted. And he's learning the skills that are actually going to get him jobs, that are going to actually earn him money, make more fortune and stuff like that. And I think if a 12-year-old can do that, I reckon like a lot of adults can do that. I know definitely for myself. I think the free time that it's gave me has allowed me to, one, realize that maybe I was a little bit burned out by the beginning of 2020. I was definitely taking on more things than I could probably handle, and I was slowly going into a state where I was just constantly just working, and didn't have any time for pleasure. I turned down a lot of friendships and stuff like that. I think pretty enough the only thing I did apart from work was football.
I've thought about this with you before in the past as well, though. Like when you say like about holidays, and it's like, yeah, but I don't need a holiday. I'm like, well, no, you do.
Yeah, exactly. I've literally, apart from, I probably say the first week of personal training, I think I've not had a week off. Um, and that's obviously one side of it is the fact that I love this job and stuff. It's not really a job; it's a kind of thing that I do constantly. But even if that's still, I still need obviously time for myself. I should be taking a week off. And in a way, that lockdown, the first initial lockdown, was I got to spend time with my family again. I was able to focus on a lot more things and stuff like that. And I came out of that lockdown more efficient. I wanted to learn a hell of a lot more about personal training again and stuff like that. Obviously, I did my started my strength and conditioning course. So, as much as anyone's going to take away from, yes, obviously, unfortunately, people are losing their lives. Unfortunately, people are losing their businesses and stuff like that. But it has gave probably a lot of people who have not admitted it yet a lot of opportunities where they have can take it and obviously go on and improve into the next year, or should I say this year.
I was going to say my desk setup is now a lot more efficient.
My desk setup is prestige. It is mint. Mine's just messy. Mine's just got drawings everywhere and stuff like that and notepads.
I've got just like random stuff, but then like it's funny that you were saying about school earlier because I did A level like PE, and obviously I did all like the psychological, all the anatomy, all the physiology, and I absolutely hated it. Hated it. I ended up doing the social side of it a lot more, and obviously that drew into me doing my degree because a lot of that was like the sports development side of things. But now I'm like a personal trainer. I'm like, why did I not take interest in this the first time? And it's like,
Yeah.
I think when kids are at a point now where they've got the free time to learn what they actually want to learn, yes, probably every 12-year-old wants to learn about World War Two.
Are we talking Call of Duty World War Two, or are we actually talking proper
So,
World
like,
War
actually, not like fighting the zombies at 4 in the morning. You can actually pick an interest in actually what you. Because if someone sits there and says you have to learn something, that you can pick what you want to learn, but you have to learn it. Guarantee it's going to be something they're interested in, and hopefully something they can carry on later on. And if they find the interest in it super early, it's,
Yeah, exactly. And
it's such a head start.
I know everyone doesn't have. I even still, I think once you finish that education at 18 and you go into university, that's still a very young age for you to decide what you're apparently going to be doing for the rest. I mean, obviously, I did my art degree, and obviously, I was thinking I was going to be the next Van Gogh straight afterwards and stuff like that. But there was a period in that time where the more I got myself into that kind of environment, the more I was dealing with the people that obviously I was going to be more associated with obviously the environment of obviously being an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself pulling away. There's always something that was kind of like there wasn't there. Sometimes you just need that kind of like that self spark. And I
Yeah,
always found it. One thing I always did find trouble was I love to painting, I love to draw, but I hate researching about it. I hate learning about history and stuff like that. Like, don't get me wrong. When I go on holiday, I am that lad who goes, "Let's go to a museum, guys. Let's have a look at this exhibition." Um, Instead of going for a couple of pints somewhere and stuff like that, I am that type of bloke.
I mean, I
But
don't think you're going to find that many museums in Ibiza, but
well, hopefully not. But yes, but I did when obviously I did do my personal training course and stuff like that. It was a straight away, and I've always, without even noticing, I went home, I went on YouTube and watched YouTube videos and stuff like that, and then obviously them YouTube videos developed into courses and stuff like that, and then the experiences from having clients. And like you said in the lockdown and stuff, I could have easily just gone like, right, sack it. Let's play Call of Duty. Let's play Warzone every night, all night.
mm,
And I didn't. I just started a course. Um, and that's where my passion lies. But yeah, I've very much, I think kids these days are very much not given that opportunity because of the set in stone structure. Yeah, it's the literally the idea of school and probably high school and colleges and stuff like that is to get you all ready for a corporate work
yeah, it's
instead
like
of actually like going right. Yeah, they give you a little bit of freedom in A level and GCSEs and stuff, but the especially in business, I did A levels in business. I failed at it horrendously bad.
I was gonna
But
say there's a narrowing effect all the way through your education because you start in like a massive funnel, and you end up doing freaking GCSE religion. And so, like, imagine it being that wide where you've got no choice, but then they're actually just funneling it down into career paths, but like they're making the choices even smaller. And it's like you're
yeah, I
fed
mean,
down all the way to a
honest-
degree where you've literally got, okay, this is your channel, pardon my fingers, um, and that's where you're meant to be. And I feel like that's why so many people that I know do their degree and end up doing something completely different because they basically just didn't have the choice or they didn't know it was there in the first place.
yeah.
And
But
I
then
feel like
again,
that's a lot of,
obviously, like sometimes you have to go through stuff you don't like in order to find stuff that you do like. Um,
but that's a luxury for like the 12-year-olds now, is the fact that they literally they can have that effect instead of that effect early on. And imagine like if you said, okay, I'm going to skip all this. I'm going to do all this to the average amount over here and focus on what this is. So for like me and you, like do all my other courses, PT, everything else, like because I feel like you can't dedicate like an hour a week to PTing because it's so much more than just doing a course. You've got like everything in terms of the finances of it all, understanding the client, understanding the body, understanding equipment. And it's like, this isn't just something that like, I think this is why it really frustrates me when people say that PTs charge too much because there's
okay.
just so much to it. Like, could you imagine at any point if you just like you didn't understand how the equipment works, you just told someone to do something?
Yeah, but the idea of the value that you charge is the fact that we're not just giving you. Well, if you're a good PT, you're not giving it just for that 1 hour. Yeah, you might charge it for that one training session, but there's, like you said, there's more to it. There's coaching outside of it. They contact us. I'm quite open with my contact time with my
Mm.
clients and stuff like that. We're doing our programs outside of a session. We're doing our food stuff out of the session and stuff like that. It's more than just that 1 hour. Um, yeah. So I get
And it's
obviously yeah up front. It can be. It can be if you look at the time and stuff like that. But that's where you need to validate your not validate because that's not really
it's
a
a
validate.
self-investment though. That's the thing for me.
You need to share
You,
your values the same as the clients in question. That's what you need to kind of do.
but it's like it's not like you're going out and buying a new car that just gets you from A to B. Yes, you can pay more for a car, but the thing will still get you from A to B.
Yeah,
A
but the
coach
reason
is
why
going to be self-improvement and
the re-
everything else.
yeah the reason why people will buy more an expensive car than buying something like that's going to benefit them more and stuff like that is because the values were met more when they were buying a car than it was
Mm.
when they was getting a PT. Like, but if you like, for example, let's say the average PT charging £35 an hour or something like that. If you split that into daily, that's probably around £3 something. That's a meal deal at Tesco's. So it's choices there and stuff like that. So if you the thing is like if you break that down, I break that down to people where you go like, well, if you stop making these choices and make not a sacrifice, but this lifestyle value, then it can be affordable.
But
Well, that's the
just
thing is, it's whether you can connect that to making them happy or
to
not.
play off that meal deal, like comment is funny because like obviously you've got like the 35 quid as a meal deal, and you notice that you're getting a drink, a sandwich, and a packet of crisps, but then like you might be getting a really expensive juice that's £2.70 already, a really nice sandwich, and it's like all the value. Yes, it is 35 quid, but the value outside of that can be a whole lot more.
Yeah,
That was a weird analogy. I almost get past it. Anyway, we're going off track a bit, so I think we should jump into 2021.
that's sure.
Yes.
So go on, Michael Ellis. What is your plan? What is your goals for 2021, and how are you going to achieve them?
I don't think I'm really going to achieve them just yet because, well, I mean, one I could is being comfortable at a 90 kilogram body weight.
Okay, that's a very interesting fitness.
Mhm.
That's a why. First of all, why 90 kg?
I just think it's smarter principle, specific, measurable, attainable,
Attainable,
achievable,
achievable.
realistic, and I'm not really timed, but I mean it is to 2021. So generally, if I can spend a bit of time now in this lockdown being comfortable, building up my weight gradually, and then that'll play into my next goal of a 200 deadlift. Obviously, it's nothing going to be on Ash's 300 deadlift.
But so if anyone hasn't seen any of my Instagram and stuff like that, one of my colleagues' clients, Ash, shout out to that lad, managed to get a 300 kg deadlift. I think he's maybe the second only person in gym etc. to get 300. I might be wrong with that, but he tried it twice. Christmas Eve, after a 3-hour session of pretty much everything being done, and he was just like, "Yeah, I fancy doing some deadlifts." Nearly got it. He pretty much had the whole gym cheering him on. And then after, I think we did it on not Boxing Day, the day after Boxing Day. So on that Sunday, and he managed to get it. So fair plays to the lad. But yeah, it makes pretty much anything below that seems very small.
Yeah, but then obviously playing that into general role with anyone else that's listening to this podcast, obviously you've got to look at the fact that Ash is training for strongman, so strength is going to be his main goal. So obviously someone that's going for weight loss and potentially probably a third off in his weight, it's not going to be something that's achievable. So you wouldn't put that as a goal, but you can make it attainable and achievable to yourself. So that's why obviously the 90 for me is an important factor, because I just know everything else can click into place. Generally, with everything else in terms of performance, I've not really got too much of a goal. I think because, well, the main goals for me in 2020 were to like a more business orientated,
Okay.
whilst trying to have some more performance. But obviously, the business hasn't exactly been amazing. So I think a lot of mine aspects, like saying, okay, having a tick list and being like, okay, each week is this getting done, da, 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 and by a certain point within the year, I want so many clients on an online basis and a one-to-one basis, which for me, looking at it now, is not impossible. Obviously, if Boris stops being a wanker, it will be attainable. But it's something that I feel is something I want to achieve it more. And then if I block it into like saying, okay, next 6 months, business, and then fitness. And then when I'm a lot more comfortable and I've got the time to be like, okay, I've got a bit more time to put aside for my own fitness, sort of like shrink that down into making it more, what's the word I'm after? Streamlined, I'd say.
Okay. You
So
mean more
make
efficient?
it efficient, yeah. So if everything runs a bit more efficiently, hopefully it does. I've got obviously the finances and everything else to make it more efficient for me to train, and I think it's going to be a lot more motivational for me to have clients that are pushing as hard as I want to be pushing, and it's going to be a vice versa effect between me and the client and me. For as weird as that sounds, like
Yeah.
I think one of my things that I'm loving the most about training with clients is it is so motivating for myself, and especially for how 2020 went. I understand when they're having a shit week because I've probably had that shit week as well. So it's a job which, for the pure enjoyment of it, I would do it for free. But obviously,
Yeah, but
it's not going
unfortunately,
to be
you got
benefiting
to
for them
make somewhat
if
of
I
a
do it
living
for
out
free,
of it.
because a lot of my money currently from PT goes back into the job. In terms of just because it's early days and because I've got another job as well, I don't have to be so worried about making a living yet. Obviously, halfway through this year, I want to be fully independent on PTing, but I have the access to make sure I've got the best service possible for clients. That's me for 2021.
That is. It's a good little goal, that. Good little
Yeah,
for
it's just.
yourself and obviously your business. For
What about
myself,
you?
for 2021, I've set myself the task before my 26th birthday, which is the end of March, to get my strength and conditioning course done. I've passed the theory exam now, so that's done and dusted. I'm nearly about to just finish a case study, and I've got the practical videos to send off. which are very Olympic lifting base. So obviously at the moment as well, I'm currently trying to perfect my technique with Olympic lifting, which is very much a task and tough. First of all, I'm going to put this out there. I love the current fact that I'm doing my Olympic lifting last now. But like, I'm in training now for myself personally, 16, near enough 9 years now. And it's probably the first time in a very, very long time that I feel like a beginner again. Like I'm at the gym, I'm fucking up a lot of times and stuff like that, and getting a lot of people telling me I need to improve on this, I need to improve on that. And it's nice to see. Well, it's nice to feel.
It's just also a good mentality to have.
It keeps me grounded. I
Yeah.
mean, like, obviously, yes, when we're coaching people and stuff like that, we on a subconscious thing, you already put yourself as this kind of not a tier above. You never look down on people, but you kind of go like, "Oh, look, you're the kind of expert here, and these people
Yeah.
here are coming for advice, and this is where the conversation starts." But this time, when it comes to Olympic lifting, like it's took me back. I'm going back into researching and stuff like that. It's brought a new excitement to my training, and obviously again, another thing that I'm grateful for with 2020 and stuff like that, that yeah, unfortunately, my football season has kind of come to a pause because of it. But if I were to
Pause is
start,
not the word.
yeah, I mean, I would love to play football. Like, I missed my Saturdays and my weekdays playing it and stuff like that. But if I were to start probably Olympic limping with that, and maybe I got my loading wrong or something like that,
Mm.
I would probably be knackering because most people don't realize how taxing my wrists keep cramping every single time I do it. And I've got some proper puny wrists and stuff like that. So it's something I definitely need to work on. But yeah, I feel like for me, the beginning portion of 2020 is going to be very heavily focused on my strength and conditioning. I really want to get that nailed down to a P, and then hopefully maybe start working within some clubs or something like that. So branch myself away from personal training, and just get that kind of experience and stuff like that, and hopefully bring that in within the business. Or
I
go
no,
on.
sorry. I've just thought of a question, but I'm honestly I just don't have a clue because obviously I know some people have gone to like uni and done S&C.
Yeah.
Like, what's the major difference between the two? Because obviously it's going to be a qualification either way, but I think it's going to be more officially recognised for me personally if I said your strength and conditioning in comparison to a uni degree.
Yeah, I mean,
Because like if you looked at it in a football aspect and said, "Oh, I've done coaching at uni," or "I have a level 2 in football coaching," as I do,
yeah,
I know who I'd look towards.
that's actually a really good question. Now, I think with the strength and conditioning side, I could be horrendously wrong with that. If you're doing a degree, it's very much heavily based on the theory sides. You very much learn about the science of it all and stuff like that. Not saying that you don't with the strength and conditioning. Obviously, there was a load of theory for me to learn and reading, and a lot of reading. But I think obviously with the strength and conditioning side is again, it's about coaching. Can we coach people how to do something that's in our heads?
Yeah.
Um, and something there's always been a debate for this whether Olympic lifting takes too long for people to learn. Is it really necessary? Because if you break them components down, there's already movements already involved in stuff like squats, lunges, hinges, and stuff like that. Um, but I think strength and conditioning very heavily focus on the coaching side of things and understanding the principle between looking good and performing well, which obviously I love and stuff like that.
Obviously, well, I'm thinking of it in terms of like, obviously, if you're doing it at uni, you're going to be what, 18 most of the time.
Yeah.
It's normally people that have just been fresh out of college and they've gone and done it for 3 years, but that's probably looking at someone that's just got an A-level PE background. Whereas yours, I imagine you're going to have a minimal requirement of having personal training.
Yeah,
Or,
you have to be a level 3 qualification to have it.
so I just feel like the physical backbone of being a PT in comparison to then going on and doing that is going to be a lot more efficient, because I feel like a year of it is just going over the basics of actually being a PT.
But yeah, but the thing is with it and stuff like that is you. The way I see it is you're kind of already the same. I mean, like to get a level 3 personal training, let's all agree, it doesn't really take that much. You can do some simple courses out there. And I know people who have done sports science, strength and conditioning at uni, and they're probably one of the most smartest people I know. So I think ultimately, I think whether you do decide to go through the route I go through or the route through uni and stuff like that, I think ultimately, if you love what you're doing and you love researching and stuff like that, it comes in full circle. And that's the same with personal trainers. You can do the same qualification. You can have a PT who's got thousands of qualifications, but if you don't understand human relation and how to coach very well, he's going to struggle. And sometimes that's why good PTs, or I should say, that's why some PTs who maybe not have got the graded qualification are good PTs because they learn how to coach. There's different values with it all and stuff like that. It depends on where you want to go within the business and stuff like that, or if you want to see it as a business at all. I think for personally wise, again, a lifting limping, I want to get better at that. So I've currently just hit the 1 times body weight mark for both my pull for my clean and jerk and snatch. My snatch is a little bit less actually. So I want to at least get 1.5. Hopefully then maybe push for 2 maybe later in the year. That might be a push stretch. Go ahead.
I'm not a master of it, but I'm clean and jerk is when you get it onto your shoulder and overhead press. Snatch is straight from the hip over and then overhead.
So they're both. So there's different kinds of like obviously lifts. So try to make it as simple as sound as yeah. Clean and jerk is the one where you front load, land on your shoulders, elbows up, and then it's a jerk split up. Whether you do a split jerk and stuff like that. And then obviously snatch is obviously you swinging the bar, not swinging the bar, you're driving the bar up overneath the head while you're obviously doing overhead squat and stuff like that.
It's effectively like a deadlift into a hip thrust.
Not really, no, because if you start like, I'm going to go into it, it's like if you start going into more of a kind of, let's say like a kettlebell swing, if you like come to obviously meet and use the hinge and stuff like that, what happens is the bar can go, path go away. And that's what I mean. Like when you break it up like that, that's what happens. The bar swoops away and you don't want that. You want it. It's almost like a shrug, like an upright row. You literally shrug it up and you
then
catch it overhead. The thing is, the principle of it is you're not sending it over underneath your head. You're actually trying to get yourself underneath the bar.
Yes,
telling yourself up.
You're going into it up to then.
Yeah, and if you look at really good people who actually do it really well, by the time they've expelled the bar, they've got themselves right underneath it.
Yeah. And I see Sonny Webster's Instagram, and he's just freaking stupid shit all the time. Obviously not stupid shit, but I just see him like
stuff you don't want to do if you're a beginner and stuff like that. But yeah, so they're my kind of like training, personal business goals and stuff like that. But I think personally wise for this year, I always find the personal one hard. I've always have because I've always related my personal one with my business or my training. Maybe a goal should be for 21 to find some personal goals and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm obviously currently trying to save up for a lovely home. Trying to buy a house. I'm currently renting the flat that I've got at the moment. So for me, I think if I take care of obviously the business side and the training side and do what I think happy, I think eventually I will find more of a comfortable, suited area for me to get.
Yeah, I think because for me, I've spent so many years being in and out of different jobs, and I feel like settling at one point in terms of buying a house isn't for me just yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm still at home, like my home, where I grew up.
Mummy, can I have some tea, please?
I don't drink tea, sadly. But no, I tend to keep myself to myself. I cook most of my own meals, but then in the same respect of like, I've worked away for 2.5 years. I lived at home for my degree, so I've gone through really different phases than everyone else normally would do.
Yeah, I know what you mean and stuff like that. I guess guess it's very different. I mean, when I went to uni, my first 2 years of uni was at home. I was a proper homeboy. I didn't want to move. That's why I went to Manchester and stuff like that. Um, but I think as I got into my business, I realized very quickly with the long hours that I was doing and stuff like that, it was disturbing the flow of my family and stuff like that. Like as I finish, my family are all ready to like they've just had their evenings, they're just about to
Yeah.
go to bed and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm pretty enough quite wide awake and stuff like that. And then I've got to wake up earlier than them and then head off and make noise and stuff like that. So obviously that's one of the reasons why obviously I live in the current flat that I have at the moment.
Well, it's like when I finished ships, I worked for the Hut Group for I think just over a year. Yeah, just over a year. And that was like the weirdest shift rotation, but there was like certain times you do like 4 different shifts over like the month. So like 1 week of one shift, and there was one where I'd do a 3-12, so 3 in the afternoon till midnight. And because of me starting at 3 and getting home at midnight, I literally didn't see my mum and dad for 3 days at a time because they were asleep by the time I got home, or by the time they were awake, I was still asleep from coming in so late the night before. I think that was one of the biggest things for me before is I sort of lost what I was working for. Yes, the money was good, but at what extent and what cost?
Yeah, and that's a big thing with people and stuff like that. I know so many people that are in jobs where it does pay good money, but then the moment they finish work, it's like boom, done. I'm dusted, and so that works for some people. But I think being in the environment that I'm at the moment, like I couldn't see myself like doing anything remotely different from what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the thing is like you, I went from jobs to jobs. I worked for things like TK Maxx to M&S to news agents and stuff like that. This is like I think this will be coming up now to probably be in the longest job that I've been at. Um, yeah, but yeah, 'cause I come a PT. I come 3 years in PT in May.
I'm trying to figure mine out.
I was say I thought you was counting for me. It's like I've not told you how long I've worked at the others. But obviously, people who can't see, my trying to do maths is quite hilarious. He's really struggling. You can see the monkey clapping in his head.
I'd say at least 6. Sainsbury's twice, wedding venue, cruise
Yeah.
ships. The Hut Group. I was a football coach for like 4 Saturdays once.
Oh, there's once.
That was a decent
I
gig.
think
It
if
was
you've
a school
played
development
football,
gig.
I think you've all had stages where you want to be like a football coach. I remember like, yeah, I think I was like maybe 16 when I was doing like my Saturday football coaching.
Yeah, I did all that. My third year at uni was freaking horrific. I did uni, placement, Sainsbury's, Heaton House, which is a wedding venue, so all my work was in the evening. I used to football coach on a Saturday and goalkeeper coach on a Sunday. I didn't know what social life was. I wasn't even driving. That was the worst thing.
Yeah.
I was just knackered all the time. And then I came home and I had my dissertation to deal with, and I was just like, I am out. I'm done. I just want this year to be done. And then I
Yeah.
got.
But sometimes we do it. I think, again, that can show a reflection of last year. It's been a big struggle for most people. A lot of people have not been able to do what they've wanted. Some people have started and failed, not failed, but taken away with what they wanted to start.
Hmm.
I think some obviously people, a lot of people have struggled with the fact that like they've not been able to see families and stuff like that. But like I've said to most people, I think when the restrictions do start lifting, and hopefully very soon, because that gym is calling me very much. I think we'll appreciate it a hell of a lot more. I think because we've now experienced what it's like to not been in that comfortable environment that we used to be living, that was once the norm. I think we'll see a completely different light to it all and stuff like that, and hopefully appreciate it a lot more.
Do you want a funny story to end the podcast?
Go on then.
You know what I've just said about my third year?
Yeah.
I was like, finished everything. I went for my graduation day, which was at Trentham Gardens. Night before, food poisoning.
Lovely. I've got another
In
joke
all
for
the
you.
photos, I'm like pale as a ghost because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna throw up.
Lovely. Well, lovely thought. But do you want to hear my joke?
Go on.
United. Anyway, right, boys. We recorded this just after the derby, so I'm a very happy lad. Very happy lad. Just in case people don't realise, I'm a Man City fan. Should be wearing a Man City shirt. But anyway, a little bit of an insight to myself and Mike's goals for 2021 and what we feel like 2020 has actually given us. If you guys have enjoyed the podcast and you're listening to this on the audio version, please rate us on Spotify. If you're on the YouTube and you're watching this, make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And obviously, with 2021 just starting, we're trying to make this podcast as closely as effective as we possibly can. So if you see things like we're posting things on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Bebo. What was that one? It was like ages ago. Was it?
Bebo. I swear, if anyone's still got a Bebo or
Oh,
understands
it's
their
Bebo,
logic,
isn't it? Yeah.
no.
MSN or something like that. Please give us what you think we should be talking about. Guys, we will see you all on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Legendary.